All right, next step's going to be weight distribution and spring bars. So we're going to get this thing supported underneath and get these guys rolling. So first thing we're going to do is actually the spring bar links right here. So if you've got the vertical jack system, which comes standard with them, we use this. These 3 holes, actually, we've got lots of questions about. So I'll get through that right now so that we all know. So typically we tell you to use this middle hole here. The only difference is you're going to have like an inch increment on these guys. So if you wanted to, if you think about these guys as like wheelbarrow handles standing behind them, when you lift those up, it actually pitches the head downward. If you push them all the way down, it actually pitches this head upward, right? So if you wanted an extreme up or down, that's what these would actually give you on this guy. So if you had it up here, it's going to give you the most pitch upwards that you could have. And if you've got them at the lowest spot, it actually gives you the most downward pitch that you can have. So a lot of times, depending on, this one's got plenty of ground clearance, but people put them on the bottom hole to give it a little bit higher here. You're just trading measurements on this basically. So if this is at the bottom hole, or sorry, the bottom flush here at the base, if you had this 1 inch up, it'd actually be 2 inches up if you had it on this bottom hole. So I don't want to get too confusing because the center hole is what we want you to use it on. It gives you the most flexibility and diversity on that pitch, on the pitch of it. So that's what we'll start with. But I just at least wanted to try and explain some of that of the mystery of the 3 holes on there. So we'll start that. You're going to hang it right here on there. Hang the other side. And then we're actually going to uninstall the bushings on the main here. So they're actually underneath, right on the bottom here. There's just 2 nylon lock nuts that are holding these bushings in. So just undo those. There's 1 bushing. And these do make a difference on what side they're on, so make sure you keep them on the right sides. They actually only fit one way. We got the second bushing here. Comes out. Now we're going to actually get these spring bars loaded into here. So you're going to get your retainer discs, which are those little tiny guys that look like they're really not supposed to be part of anything, but they are, and they're pretty crucial. So these little guys right there are your retainer discs. So we're going to get some grease on this guy and try and not get it on all of us. And basically what this is going to do is allow these retainer discs actually to stay in this slot, because if you can see right in there, there's a slot that's in there, and that slot only goes one way in this. So you can see as these go on, that retainer disc is going to sit right in there. So this is what we're going to do. It's just like that. But with grease in there, it's going to hold that in. So we can put it back up in here and then get it all set in there. So see how tough that is even when it's not even in there? So I'll have to dump it to get it out. There we go. Okay. Let's get some grease in this guy. There's really not very many points that rub on this system. So if you hear any noise, it's a pretty quiet system actually. So you can come in late at night at your campsite and not wake up everybody, because everybody knows what hitch does that, and it's not ours. So this little retainer disc, you're going to put this bushing in. Retainer disc goes in, just like that. Now you could put more grease and stuff in there right now, but I'm just going to honestly wait until we've got this in there. We've got zerks installed right here, and then we'll pump some grease in that guy, because that's just enough for it to get it in there. So now we're going to put this back in here. I think I can do it from this side. But they literally only go in one way. That goes around the cylinder. It'll hold in there like that. You're going to put this through. See, it's so easy that I can do it without looking. Make sure I put that on the right way. So there's your nylon lock nut. So I'm just going to get that in like that. I'm going to get this side in now. So we're going to do the same thing over. Pump a little bit of grease in that guy. Here, I can get to where maybe you can see. So we just put a little bit of grease in there. Put this dude in there. And again, this is just, I'm just putting enough in there to hold it so it doesn't get us all like crazy messy. Retainer disc gets installed. Make sure it is in there all the way. This guy gets put into its housing there. And reverse that process. Nut, nylon locking, nylon locking nut on there. And I'm going to get the tools so we can tighten this guy snug. And then we'll move on back to these spring bar connections back here with the links. So we're just going to tighten these things snug, is what we're doing at this point. And these are nylon locked nuts, so literally just getting them snug on there. Good deal. Let me get this side. I go ahead and snug them up now. I have seen circumstances where people don't do that and they forget, and this is definitely a crucial point. Under tension, they won't fall out, and I've seen people travel with those and then have these fall out later on because they didn't tighten them. So definitely make sure you do that. All right, let's go to the next step here. All right, so we're going to attach these spring bar links to the actual spring bars. Now this has been a goofy area too. People are like, they'll call me like it doesn't fit. It does not work. So I don't know what I did, if I broke it or what, but you didn't, so no worries. You can move these things however you want because we're really not worried about tension and stuff right now. So you can move these things to accommodate getting that U-bolt put onto there, and that's exactly what I'm going to do right now. So I'm going to raise this enough just to get that U-bolt put on there, and we'll go from there. Here's my U-bolts. Actually, I've got that one over there. That'll work. There it is. Okay. So you can probably just do it by hand because there's no tension on it. Just raise it enough to get to where you need to be with your U-bolt. U-bolt's going to come through this guy, just like that. There we go. Now these guys are made, a lot of systems want these things like super tight. They want it rigid on there because they're using them for friction. We are not. So you just need to actually get these on to where there are just a few threads showing on the bottom. And I'll show you here once I get them put on. Again, make sure that you don't cross thread anything. Let's try this dude. Sometimes they like different styles. Sorry. There we go. See, there's a few threads showing right there. That's what I'm looking for. Just about like that. That way you've got plenty of room between these two right here so that this thing can actually move like this. If you've got it pinned on there, it's not going to allow this to move at all, and that's when you're going to end up like having the bend outward and things like that at the top of these things. These guys are very resilient too, so if something goofy does happen and you do bend that, you can typically just bend that right back into shape and it's going to be perfectly fine for you. So I'm going to jump over to the other side and do that side as well. You can kind of notice the maximum 27.5 we had to put this at, you're still actually just about vertical on that. So we're going to have fantastic weight distribution too, so no worries. This side's the same way. We're just going to need to bring these guys up a bit to accommodate for it. No big deal. So loop it through. You can see that over there. Loop it through. Have it hang. Get these bad boys started. Couple more turns. There we go. I'm liking the way that looks. And our weight distribution bars are set. So we're good there. On to the next spot. We're going to get some grease flowing in these now. So just so we don't forget, quite honestly, that's why we do it now, because it's easy. Once you get all the other stuff, you get excited. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm almost done. I want to make sure that you get that grease put in the grease zerks here. So this guy's going to just fit right on there. I'm going to go over this side first so you can kind of try and see this, and then I'll do the other side. So it just basically presses on like that. Literally just presses on, and then you're just going to pump this stuff in. What you can look for is underneath right there. When it starts to ooze out, usually 4 or 5, just depends. This one actually is a pretty good gun, so it actually doesn't just like shoot it in there like some of the other ones do. Just keep watching for it. There it goes. See how it starts to ooze out? It means that cylinder's full in there. So we'll give it one more for good measure. And we'll go to the other side. So again, just going to press that in there. Make sure it's in there tight. If it starts coming out on the edges here, you don't have it pressed in far enough, so just push it in harder. Whoop. See, I just gave you an example of that. All right. I think we're good there. And actually, we're on to the yoke. So give me a sec. I'm going to clean this up a little bit, and we'll get after that yoke.